Alright then guys, welcome to our new episode of Every Kick. We've got a lot of things to go through here. Just for any of you that are sort of new here or unsure what Every Kick is actually about, basically I'm going to go through all of the sort of news in the football world, and this is where we discuss and share opinions. Hopefully in the future, I can get some other people on the show and we can all sort of exchange a sort of debate or whatever about whatever topics. I want to kick off here with just talking about this guy, Phil Foden, one for the future. If we were playing Ultimate Team, if we were playing FIFA 18 career mode, probably highlight this guy saying that. Aged 17 years, 283 days, Phil actually became the youngest player ever to play in a Champions League knockout match, as well as the youngest player to play in a Champions League knockout game for an English club. So huge congratulations to Phil, and he's already showed us these glimpses of just what he can do, and like I say, at such a young, delicate age, I think it's safe to say we can expect big things for this guy. Moving on to Reiss Nelson of Arsenal Football Club. Football Battles over on Twitter, just a football Twitter account, tweeted, "Sum up this man in 3 words." But as you can see there, you've got Dele Alli high-fiving another player. I can't quite see who it is from here. Reiss Nelson has quoted it with the words, "Suck my dick." Tweet has now been deleted. Of course, it's probably deleted about 5 minutes after. But a couple of people did grab the screenshot, so shout out to those people that were on the ball with it and managed to grab the screenshot straight away. New Arsenal starlet Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang has come out publicly to back the Arsenal boss, who's currently been under a lot of fire, under a lot of criticism at the minute as well. And it's not really clear on just how long he's going to stay at the club for, Arsene Wenger anyway, and he has said, "I am here because of him." So he's just simply come out to make that statement here and has said, he's got his full support, to carry on with the club. Juventus legend Chiellini did a rather sort of emotional post-match interview, obviously after knocking Tottenham out of the Champions League. Now, I have to say, by the way, I am an Arsenal fan, but credit where credit's due to Spurs I think they were the better team in both games and just unfortunately still went out. It does happen. It's a tough one. It really is a tough one. But yeah, Chiellini actually had a rather emotional interview there. I didn't want to throw that clip in, guys. You can go and find that over on YouTube or probably Twitter as well. But he did sort of break down when interviewers asked him about obviously the recent passing of the Fiorentina captain, David Astori. He gave quite a big sort of motivational speech, and I think if you watch it and you don't almost well up, then you are definitely a very heartless person, as it's a really sort of moving speech, especially when they didn't even play for the same team. It's like it's nice, I think, that how the Italian football on a whole have actually come about the whole thing, and Chiellini actually dedicated the win to a story as well, which is fantastic. So yeah, obviously very sort of emotional times going on over in the Italian league at the minute. Now guys, a bit of a bizarre one here, probably the most bizarre red card I have ever heard of in my history of supporting football. So basically, ex-Arsenal player goes by the name of Sanchez Watt, that's spelled W-A-T-T, got sent off because basically he committed a foul earlier on in the game, and then he committed another foul. I haven't seen both fouls to say if they were or not, but that's besides the point, right? Let's say he committed 2 fouls in the game. So the referee, he'd already gone for book Watt anyway. He, gives him his yellow card, and he says, right, what's your name? Basically, the referee said to Sanchez, what? Sanchez, what? Being called what? Has said, what? Probably the funniest sort of bit of miscommunication you can imagine. And the referees then said, I'm not going to ask you again, what's your name? And he said, what? Simply. Sanchez is trying to get back and help his team defend now, because he's just given away this free kick. So he's trying to rush back and help his team defend. The referee has obviously mistaken it for like rude behaviour, disrespect, whatever you want to call it, thinking he's just going, what? Like in terms of asking what, you know what I mean? He was simply stating his name, and this happened 3 times before, like I say, the referee then went, right, I've had enough of this, red card. Gave him a red card, sent Sanchez off. I don't know who disputed it. It was probably, I think it was his own teammates probably said, no, look, the guy is actually called Sanchez W-A-T-T. And the referee then recited the red card, if that's the right word, and took it back and allowed Sanchez to carry on playing. But probably the most bizarre red card I've heard of for a long time. Now, obviously, it was a bit of a tough weekend for Liverpool fans. I'm not going to lie, I tweeted before the game that I couldn't see Liverpool not winning that game. I thought that it was a definite one in the bag for Liverpool, just with how they played recently, and I didn't really trust the Man United defence. But shout out to Man United in the end. They put on a good performance. They were very good defensively. Ashley Young had a fantastic game, so yeah. But anyway, Liverpool fans, you weren't alone, as your famous sort of chant goes. Jamie Carragher was caught spitting at a fan and his 14-year-old daughter. Obviously, since the footage has been leaked all over the internet, the video of it, he's had to obviously come out and publicly apologise. Now, it sort of goes without, I'm a little bit torn on this one, because I do get he's a Liverpool fan. If I was in his position and it was Arsenal in the case, I'd probably say things. I don't think I'd ever spit, because I really don't do spitting. I think it's vile. I definitely think it's more of a man thing than a woman thing, and I'm not trying to be sexist there. I'm just trying to get that across. It's very rare for a woman to spit like at somebody like that. No sex jokes, please, guys. But yeah, like, I personally, like, I know that I can get really, really angry, enraged and heated just from playing video games, and I know the kind of things that I sometimes say, and I think, whoa, Kim, like, chill out a little bit. But when he is such a professional and he has a job that obviously, well, he's supposed to be a Liverpool legend, he's somebody that kids are supposed to look up to. He's supposed to be this icon, this idol for Liverpool Football Club. And then now he's obviously on, he's obviously a pundit as well, and he gives all these thoughts and opinions and stuff. And I think that obviously he should receive, some kind of fine for it or something, which I have no doubt that he will. I don't think apology is going to quite cut it. But still, like, I'm just going to say, without bashing him too hard, because I can sort of sympathise with him, because, Liverpool was sort of hard done by in some aspects of the Man United game. I do think some decisions didn't really go Liverpool's way that should have done. But, it doesn't really sort of excuse that kind of behaviour, I don't think, from somebody who's a professional. Let's call him a paid professional at the end of the day. I think he should know a bit better. Now, one of Germany's most promising youngsters, Joshua Kimmich, actually signed a brand new contract with his club Bayern Munich earlier on last week to extend his contract there to until 2023. That is a huge contract to sign, and he's obviously very committed to Bayern, which is fantastic to them as well. And a great, like I say, a fantastic player that's had interest from absolutely everywhere. Let's get a look at his stats as well. Here we go. In all competitions this season, Joshua Kimmich has played 33 games, scored 4 goals, got 12 assists, created 71 chances, 165 crosses from open play, and has a passing accuracy of 90%. That is absolutely fantastic for him. when you consider obviously how young he is as well, and he still has time to develop. What a fantastic player, and I think that's huge for Bayern. I really do think that is huge news for Bayern Munich. Next up, we have got Liverpool's Jack Butland. Liverpool spotted Jack Butland. I think I've just kind of given that away there. Stoke City's Jack Butland, sorry guys, who could well end up being Liverpool's Jack Butland. They are looking to pay Stoke City £40 million for this player. Is he worth that? Is he worth £40 million? Like, I live in Stoke, and I'm from Stoke, and I know very well that a lot of Stoke fans, they absolutely rate this guy 100%, and I do rate him. I do really rate him. I probably think he is England's best goalkeeper right now. I'm not saying in the league. I'm saying England. I don't think he's better than De Gea, to be honest, or and arguably not as good as Ederson. But obviously he's still young as well, and he's playing for Stoke at the end of the day, who have had a very, very disappointing season. I think that goalkeepers, it's very hard being a goalkeeper, because for anybody else out there on that field, they make a mistake, and in perspective, there's somebody behind every other player to pick up on that mistake, to clear it up, to sort it out. When a goalkeeper makes a mistake, 9 times out of 10, it leads to a goal. So, it's hard. It is really hard. Obviously, he did recently fail to catch the ball and sort of turned it into his own net kind of thing. And that was obviously disappointing for him. But I have seen this guy at his best, and he is a fantastic goalkeeper. The thing is, will Stoke part with him? Will they ask for more money? Is he worth 40 million? I think, to be honest, if I'm Stoke, if I'm Paul Lambert or the board, I'm snapping that deal up 100%, definitely. With the season that Stoke have had, I do think this is just going to be the tip of the iceberg, to be honest. I think that they're going to be in for a real raid. You've got the likes of Shaqiri, probably Allen as well, maybe two. Players that are too good to be sitting where they are with Stoke. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying too good for Stoke. I'm saying they're too good for the Stoke that have performed this season. And that's just a couple of players. I'm sure there's more to that list as well. Next up, we move on to Everton and their manager Sam Allardyce, who, when they faced Burnley earlier on last week, was caught smirking after a very, very disappointing game against them. And after the reporter actually mentioned about the fans being frustrated, which, as an Arsenal fan, Wenger has only so much got to crack a joke, and if we are currently underperforming, a lot of the fans are obviously starting to call for his head. So the fact that, he actually smirked, that Allardyce, actually smirked after the reporter mentions about the fans being frustrated, I don't think it went down too well with the Everton fans. And there is speculation about Everton reportedly planning to sack Sam Allardyce in the summer, so obviously at the end of the season. How much of that is true obviously remains to be seen. But there are a couple of names on the list to replace Sam Allardyce, of course, as you can imagine. Everton Football Club, big football club. Shakhtar Donetsk's boss, Paulo Francesca, I think his name is pronounced, is actually leading that list of the candidates to replace Sam in the summer. Now, I don't know an awful lot about this guy, but I do know that he does really suit the Everton style of play, so it could be something that does happen in the summer, but I do think it sort of depends on what happens, between now and the end of the summer at Everton. Okay, we move on to West Ham and Burnley, actually, at this current picture here, as you can see. Now, this is a picture of the Burnley bench. Now you're going to see some images after this that are kind of a little bit disturbing. But the Burnley players get a lot of credit from me right now, because they actually allowed young West Ham fans to sit on the bench with them, away from all the violence that kicked off over the weekend. We're going to have a look at some of those images right now. And here you can see West Ham fans. You can see one certain West Ham fan and a very, very angry Mark Noble, who actually tackled one of these violent West Ham fans that raided the pitch. I am just going to say right now, guys, right? I used to go watch football every weekend with my dad. When my parents were still together, my mum used to work weekends a lot, and obviously I'd be left with my dad, and this was before my little sister was born. And I used to go every weekend to watch our local side, Port Vale, and kind of just say that, like, that is part of that for me. I loved it. I loved going. I loved joining in with the chants and stuff. Okay, you're at a football game. Swearing is sort of acceptable. I mean, you're at a football game. What do you expect? There are a lot of not drunk men, but you know, there are a lot of sort of rowdy men about. What do you expect? But violence, I'm sorry, but no. Football is something that isn't just... I think a lot of these like young men that class themselves as football hooligans need to realise that football just isn't about them, and that's not what it's about. There are youngsters like myself. I'm actually, a young girl that goes to the football and still enjoys it too, without the whole violent side. And there is absolutely no need to bring violence like that into football. I don't care if your club hasn't won a game all season. I don't care. I literally do not care. You do not go to a football game with the idea of causing violence or disruption like that. I'm sorry, but you just don't. It's funny sometimes, when they run onto the pitch and they're not violent and they're just doing it because they got 200 retweets on Twitter or whatever. But to actually go on and hurt other people in the process. There are West Ham fans in the stands fighting amongst themselves, which is obviously why the Burnley players decided to pull kids over to obviously protect these kids from what the hell was going on behind them. There's people fighting each other to get onto the pitch so they can go and attack the players, the West Ham players. I mean, that is just pathetic. That is absolutely pathetic, and I hope these people do get banned from ever going to a football stadium in their life, to be honest. Here again, more pictures of it. One thing I will say, it's okay being against. They were actually targeting the abuse at the owners of West Ham. The West Ham chairman, is it Gold? I think that's his surname. Is it David Gold or something like that? He was actually pictured crying. He was in tears because of what was going on. Because if I'm West Ham, I'm thinking we need to punish. There were a lot of decent West Ham fans out there, and if you are a West Ham fan watching this that didn't get involved in any of that violence, I do apologise about what I'm about to say, but the only way that you're going to punish these people, because there will be more that actually do it, but basically, guys, like, I think that they should actually play. What West Ham should do is play a couple of games now behind closed doors so people can't watch. I'm sorry, but that is what's going to happen. It happens in Russia. It happens in like Serbia, to those sort of teams as well. Because obviously a lot of violence goes on in those leagues. And it's unfortunately, guys, it is what will end up happening. So what I will say is, if you are a West Ham fan and you know anybody that's getting involved in doing things like this, there are peaceful ways to protest. There are peaceful ways to get your voice out there. Violence is not the answer at all. To just sort of prove a point. Look at that, is absolutely that. Just look at that guy. You don't look at him and think, oh yeah, he's so cool, he's just run on the pitch, and look, he's gone for Mark Noble. You just got battered by Mark Noble, mate, and Ogbonna. And I mean, look at him compared to Ogbonna. I think he's absolutely gonna smash you if you even dare touch any of him or his teammates, to be honest, for that matter. Shout out to the West Ham players, for obviously not for the recent performances, but for sort of remaining as professional. If I'm a West Ham player, I don't want to batter that guy. I'd be like, you've just come out on here to cause violence when there are young fans sitting in them stands, and you're leading that example as a fan. I'm sorry, but no. Does not wash with me at all. Anyway, ranting aside, I do apologise about that rant. It's just something that obviously, because I'm obviously a very chilled kind of person, that when I went to Arsenal's 1-0 loss against, was it one? I can't even remember the freaking result now. I'm that raged. I went to Arsenal's loss against Stoke earlier on this season. You know, I was sat in the away fans with Arsenal. And you know, still, I was still like, so I was obviously so raged at our performance, but I still didn't come out of there wanting to punch someone. Do you know what I mean? It's just pathetic. I'm sorry. Anyway, on your screens right now, you can see Wojciech Szczesny, the ex-Arsenal man, as I'm talking about Arsenal, couldn't resist an opportunity to make a little crack at Spurs. Obviously, his new club, Juventus, knocking Spurs out of the Champions League. Great win and celebrations versus one of the best teams in North London, Forza Juve. North London is red. Absolute legend, even though he's not at the club anymore. Love this guy to pieces, I really do. And finally, guys, before I show you squad of the week, want to congratulate Petr Cech. You know, obviously, despite his recent performances, you can't, again, it goes with what I said about Jack Butland. A striker makes a mistake, it's covered by a midfielder. Most of the time, a midfielder makes a mistake, it can be covered by a defender. A goalkeeper makes a mistake and he's just got a goal behind him. You know, it leads to a goal. At the end of the day, we're all human. We all do make mistakes. We all do go through highs and lows in life. And Arsenal Football Club is hopefully sort of back on the rise. Probably, left it too little too late. But you can't take this away from Petr Cech at the end of the day. 200 Premier League clean sheets. He's the first goalkeeper to ever have reached that. That is some achievement, and congratulations, Petr Cech. I'm not going to lie, I think Chelsea got the best out of Petr Cech. I'm not going to lie there, but I'm still not going to take away the fact that he is still that same goalkeeper. Obviously just a little bit older, maybe not as fast as what he used to be, but still a fantastic goalkeeper, and I think he's actually a true inspiration, to be honest. And no, I'm not just saying this because he's an Arsenal player, but obviously the injury that he went through, we've seen Ryan Mason actually retire from football because he suffered a similar sort of injury, and I know it's harder for an outfield player to play like with a helmet and stuff, but in regards to Cech, you know, to carry on after such an injury, such an horrific injury like that, where a lot of people were actually really scared, you know, that he'd never play again. And, you know, it just goes to show that he never gave up, and he's still playing at a top club. I mean, okay, we're probably not as good as Chelsea at the minute, but, you know, he's still playing at a top level, and fair play to him, you know, at his age now to carry on. I think that's absolutely fantastic. You know, putting recent performances aside, you can't take away the fact that Petr Cech is a classy goalkeeper, a very brilliantly talented goalkeeper. You can say that he's not as good as he was before, obviously, but I don't think you can say that he's not good anymore, because he's, you know, his performance against Watford did just show otherwise. He made a couple of good saves, saved the penalty for the flipping first time in God knows how long. And yeah, 200 Premier League clean sheets. Well done, Cech. And I'm going to finish off, guys, by this week's squad of the week here. We have got Kieran G02 over on Twitter, if you guys want to go give him a follow. This is his team that he showed off earlier this week. Guys, if you want to have your team featured, it can be on FIFA or PES. It doesn't have to be just a team either. If you pack something good this week, again, either in FIFA or PES, feel free to send it to me. And just let me know that you want it to be featured in one of these episodes of Every Kick. I do still have a couple to throw in, but I'm just limiting it to one a week. However, I will eventually get everybody's in there. Obviously yours just might take time. Obviously just let me know if you want the shout out on social media as well, because if you send it in on Snapchat, I understand not everybody wants to give Snapchat away, so just do let me know there obviously beforehand, before I go, oh yeah, this is submitted by blah 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 on Snapchat, and then you go and get like 100 Snapchat requests or whatever. So yeah guys, thank you very much for watching the video. Go follow Kieran on Twitter, like I said, Kieran G02. Go give him a follow. This is the team that he has submitted. What do you guys rate that out of 10? Let me know in the comment section down below, and like I said, feel free to submit yours. You could do it on Snapchat, you can do it on Instagram, Twitter. You can find me on social media in the description down below, guys. All my links are down there. With all of that being said, I want to thank you guys very much for watching the video. It's been a very, very long episode of Every Kit, but we've had a lot of stuff to get through actually this week. But this is obviously been the news from last week. Obviously this week's news, as this episode goes live, will be uploaded next week. I hope that makes sense to you guys, just so that I can capture the full week obviously and get everything done in time. Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching. If you are new here, please do subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, drop a like if you did enjoy the video. Any comments, suggestions, feedback, opinions that you might have for me, drop in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next episode.